you see there is a mistake on my side because this deadline is before the start date. So of course this is not possible. I put it in February and now I can save the action. What can be interesting is that each of these people will see the action and they will be able to say that they did it, and this arrow will become green. The person who defined the action will see the situation of each member which is in the action list, and when everyone did the action, or even in another case as it is completely free to decide, can change the status which is done. So the action becomes green, and this means that this is an action which has been done. You see, it is possible in this way to plan the work and then to track the work which is done, for example, in a work package or at project level or in a specific domain, because as you can see, you have domains which are not only related to the work packages, but also some other domains which can be useful. Gen is for general documents or objects in general, which are not related to any work package. For example, a guideline or something which is supporting the whole project. PRV, private, is a domain where the Shift2Rail has no access. So normally they can give a look to your cooperation tool situation, but they will not be able to see any document which is included in this domain. And the web is a usual additional domain which is needed in order to prepare objects or usually documents which needs to be published in the website. Because as you know, each project has a website which is created by the cooperation tool and published in the website of Shift2Rail. You can reach this website clicking here, and you see this is the Into-Track2 public website inside the Shift2Rail general website. There are several pages, and what is not easy to guess is that most of this information is coming directly from the cooperation tool. So there is no a separate list of beneficiaries. For example, this is exactly the same list that you have here, only in a different format. This means that if the project coordinator updates this list, for example, saying there is a partner which is no more needed in the project because they decided to leave, then this partner will be put in the withdrawn state, and immediately this partner will disappear from the public website. Of course, I will not try to do it, but this is the benefit of having a website integrated with the cooperation tool. And this is true also for other information. For example, you can publish a document without any need to upload it again in a different platform or different website and so on. Any question? Okay. So, as a quick summary, you now understand that the project is described by objects. you can somehow influence this. You can, for example, create documents, meetings, actions, events, news. You can, if you have the rights, change them, make changes in their properties. You can also, if you have dissemination rights, publish them in the public website. But another important aspect of the cooperation tool is to ensure a proper communication even inside the project. And this can be done in different ways. Of course, when you go in the member list, you look in a work package, maybe users or more. Then you see there is a possibility to see and send a message to a specific person. So this is a first level of communication, to have quick access to emails. And hopefully this will be always updated information, because each of you can check with this button that the information which describe his or her profile in the project are always updated and correct. In most cases, you can update them yourself. But many cases, you don't need or don't wish to send a message only to one person, but to a group of persons. And this can be done again in different ways using the message function. You can create a new message and decide who should receive it. This is a kind of internal messaging system of the cooperation tool. Anyway, you have to know that when you send a message, this message will be received inside the cooperation tool, but will also generate a normal email message which will reach each recipient at his or her usual email address. You can define the recipient list choosing categories, participant, and minimum rights. For example, user only, and maybe only, not all the partners, but only a few of them. Okay, finally I was restricting my choice a little bit too much, but I can easily go back. You can unselect individual people, and so you get your list of recipients which will receive this message. I repeat, this message will be received in the cooperation tool, but will also be sent at the email address of each of the recipients. And this is done when pushing send. Now I don't want to send a message to all these people, but this shows you how you can send messages to a selected list of recipients from the cooperation tool. But as I said before, this is not the only way to do it. You can get a distribution list, which means do exactly as before, select some participants or a category of people or some writes, and then instead of sending a message, you get a distribution list which you can copy and paste in your Outlook or whatever is your preferred mail service. And finally, there is a third possibility to define a short address. For example, again, we select only users, and then we continue, and we have a short address which can be used in your Outlook or your mailer system and send a message to these people. And again, I will not send any message now. Finally, there is another communication tool inside the cooperation tool, which is the forum. This can be useful in case you don't really wish to send a message which will be used at the moment and then probably forgot in the future, but you wish to start a discussion in your project or in your work package which will go on for a while. So you can define a topic for the discussion, defining a title, a subtitle, and a message, which is the starting message of the discussion in the forum. There is a possibility also to choose a type, to choose a domain, of course, and as usual, to choose access rights, and then to confirm. And this is our discussion in the forum. Clicking on it, you see the starting message, and you can add a post, so creating a long discussion as needed, which can allow everyone to exchange their ideas with everyone else, and possibly to reach some consensus or some common viewpoint on a specific topic. So, in this last part of this training, I showed you the communication features of the cooperation tool. There are also other possibilities, but I try to stick to the basic functionality, otherwise maybe I will generate too much confusion. But as long as you go on and get familiar with the cooperation tool, you will find out that there are more features than I could show today. And in case if you have any need for help on any point, please feel free to contact me or my colleagues using this key. Support is a button which allows you to access documentation related to the cooperation tool. There is a specific section for Shift to Rail where you can find additional information. There are some video tutorials which show something like what I showed you today, but in a little bit more extended way. And finally, if you don't find what you need in all the above, you can decide to send us a message. You just include your subject, what it is about. For example, I don't know, about cooperation tool, and which is your message. We will be happy to answer you in a short time. The message has been sent, and all the people here in CNC, which are in charge of support, they will receive it, and one of them can answer to your problem or your question as soon as possible, usually in a very short time. So, before possibly going further on, I would like to check if there are questions.
Yes, can you tell me something about financial reporting?
Yes, that was the next topic. As I showed in the beginning, Cooperation Tool has 3 areas: private, administrative, public, and then there is also a cluster area. First, look at administrative. You have in the project the possibility to define your budget, but this is not mandatory. As I mentioned before, each project can decide to use the administrative functionality. And in fact, at the moment, I think in this project, the budget has not been defined. Anyway, this is something which is possible at any time. We can include...
The contract has not been signed yet.
Okay, I understand. So when the budget is defined, which means the contract, this will be a budget version 1. It's possible to have a different budget version because, as I mentioned before, you can use this tool for preparation of a proposal of project. And this means you will go through several versions of budget before reaching the final one. And this can be tracked in the Cooperation Tool. You can update your budget, the list of beneficiaries, and so on, and find a final version which will become the budget against which to compare the real cost. But of course, as this area is empty, it is not easy to show very much, but you see there is, yes, this is important. First of all, the periods have been defined. You see there are several accounting periods, A1, A2, A3, and several reporting periods. Reporting periods are the official reporting to the JU and the Commission. Accounting periods are for internal use, to check the progress of the project. So, at this point, accounting period 1 is already finished. Of course, you can decide to change these periods before you start doing anything in the administrative area. But as it is now, this period is finished, so it can be possible to put information. So for example, I select the accounting period 1. Then I have to choose a work package. And then I have to check and choose a beneficiary. Of course, most of you will only be able to input data for themselves, for their own partner. Of course, not for others. So, for example, I can say I am DB, and I can put information about the account of DB, comparing it with the budget. The budget now is not included, and as everything is gray, this means I cannot include anything in this work package. Why? Because this beneficiary is not working in this work package. So you have two possibilities. Either to say, no, this is not correct, I want to define in the tool that this beneficiary is working in this work package, but this is to be done by a project administrator, or you simply choose another one. Yes, but also this is not. So
I have a question here from MCL again. So, what rights do you need to put in? If I'm a beneficiary and I have limited user rights, I'm sure I can't put in any data. Is user rights already enough?
No. Because this is another area of the cooperation tool, as I told you. This is the administrative area. You need to have rights in this area. And the rights here are only a few. Basically, you can have rights to see the budget only, to see the budget and the accounts, to define the budget, or finally you can have the rights to see and define the account. So only those who can see and define the account can really input data in this page. This is done, I can show you, in the private area. You choose any person. The project coordinator will be able to change the profile of this person. And here in the project position, you see here you have the rights, but these are for the technical area. And these are the rights for the administrative area. Generic administrative, budget read-only, budget full access, account read-only, and account full access. So according to these checkboxes, you can have the right to do something or not in the administrative area.
Okay, but I know the financial signatory should then, of each beneficiary, should have the budget full access. Do I get that right?
Not only
for the beneficiary.
Yes, budget full access and account full access. Budget, at this point, the budget will be already defined in the contract. It is only a matter of inputting it once, unless there will be a contract amendment. If there will be a contract amendment, it will be necessary to make changes. Otherwise, the budget will no more change during the project life. The account, on the contrary, will need frequent inputs at each period.
Yep.
So, for example, in case now it is necessary to put data for the first period, you go to account, you select the beneficiary, the work package, the period, and you will see some of these lines to become yellow, and you can put data on them.
Okay.
The problem is that it is important. No, sorry. Let's look here. Yes, it is important as a prerequisite to fill in this table, because the system needs to know which beneficiary works in which domain. So this can be done quickly. This is the reason why I was not able to input any data, because this table has not been initialized. Sometimes Shift2Rail asks us to initialize this table. But anyway, for each beneficiary, it is necessary to tell the system who is working where. So,
and who has to do that?
This has to be done by the financial responsible of the project. Maybe this is the same as the project coordinator, maybe is a different person. In some cases is a partner of the project who has this role.
Okay.
It depends by the project.
The PF sign should be this. The project financial signatory.
Normally, yes.
Yes, of course. Can be. It's a project decision. The project coordinator can give these rights to everybody. He decides. And after this table has been filled in, go into account, you can put your figures for the first period. And this is all for this accounting period. After a while, you will be able to do the same for the second accounting period. And after this has been done, automatically you have the information for the first reporting period. Because the first reporting period is simply the sum of the two previous ones. In other cases, can be exactly the same. Anyway, you fill in the accounting period and the reporting period is created as a consequence.
Okay, a short message here from MCL. I have to drop out, but thank you for the introduction.
Okay.
And I'll definitely have a look at the documents you provided in the tool itself. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And I wish to mention one final point, which is the cluster level. A cluster is a set of projects grouped in accord with a kind of common criterion, which can be, for example, you can have a cluster of all the projects in the same IP. For example, a cluster is IP2, IP3. Or you can have a cluster for all the projects of the same JU member. You have here a list of all the clusters for IP3, for example, or for each JU member. For example, we can have a list of the cluster of DB, and these are all the projects where DB is involved, which are quite a lot, of course. And a specific role of this cluster. Okay, originally this cluster level was created in order to have an integrated view of many projects, because Cooperation Tool is able to manage many projects, but sometimes some projects have the same coordinator or have the same partner as a main partner. And this allows to create a cluster which gives an integrated view of all such projects together. And so this can allow to see all the documents, all the meetings, to coordinate meetings between different projects and so on. We are adding the possibility to share documents between projects and other possibilities.
When you're only involved in one project, there's no cluster button, is it?
Sorry?
When you're only involved in one project, there's no cluster button.
If you are not a JU member, probably not.
Okay.
If you are a JU member, usually you should have a cluster, even if with one project.
I can't find the cluster button.
Which is your company?
ProRail.
ProRail.
Yes.
Maybe not.
Probably it's not there because we don't have no contracts yet.
Okay. Maybe.
Could be.
Anyway.
Paolo?
Yes?
Paolo, this is Fürst Albini VW in Austria. One question to the documents and deliverers.
Yes.
Is it possible to change documents, like you can do it in SharePoint, to have just one document and everybody who wants to work with this document has to check out the document. The document is closed for all others. So the man who has checked out the document makes his changes and has to check in the document once again, so that you have all different versions and just have one document. Like if you have a deliverable, nowadays we send it around and someone has to collect all these different changes. It's a lot of work to do. In SharePoint, you have just one document, you check it out, you add the document and check it in, and the next one can do the same and so on. You have just one document and you have all the different versions stored in SharePoint. Is this possible also with this collaboration tool?
Yes, I will show in a second, but before leaving this page, I wish only to mention that a new important task of the cluster level, which is especially been built for Shift2Rail, is the management of ICOP and IK. So if you are a GEO member, you know that you have not only cost, but you have also to provide a contribution in terms of ICOP and maybe IK. And so this can be managed only at cluster level for IK and at cluster level or at project level for ICOP. There is a specific document on this prepared by us together with Shift2Rail, which you can download. And I think if I well understand, you are not yet involved with this problem because your project contract has not yet been signed, but probably you will have to deal with this in the future, and this will require to have access to the cluster level, which is also a specific access and a specific rights level. Not everybody can go to the cluster level. But said this, I answer to your question. You have a document. So these are documents at cluster level, but we go again to the private part. We go into track. No, sorry, I was too fast. Into track 2. So into track 2, we can have a document. Let's take this one. And when defining a document or a version of a document, you can decide, okay, I produce this document, but now I give the control of the document to someone, for example, from Ansaldo, and especially to this person here. So this is how it works in the cooperation tool. You can even change at the second time or when uploaded the document this information about the next owner and next author. And you can give the control of the document to this other person. This person, of course, can download the document, but can also upload, because normally only the owner and author, so the owner is the company, author is the person, can upload a new version of the document. But in this way, choosing a different next owner and next author, this person will be able to produce and upload the next version of the document. So then this person can give the control to another person, and so circle the document between a group which is in charge of producing the document, having so the possibility to collect all the different contributions and build up a final version. Do you think these answers to your needs?
Yes, I think that's useful for us because we have now a real terrible system to collect this and assemble these deliverables. This would be maybe an option to improve that process. Thank you.
Okay, this is related to the individual document, but then there is also another possibility to build up deliverables. Because deliverables are defined or will be defined maybe in the project. There are no deliverables yet. Probably this is also connected to the fact that the contract has not yet been finalized. But when the deliverables are defined, you have the possibility to see them, of course, and
excuse me, Paolo.
Yes.
Could you go to the Into-Track project, and because we have there the deliverables, and maybe show us
exactly
in Into-Track how to work with that?
Yes. Okay, this is Into-Track, and there are a number of deliverables. You can sort them. I didn't show you, but you can sort for any column in order to order them up as you like. You see some deliverables are delayed, some deliverables are not yet late, but what we can note is there is no deliverable which is really finalized. And this is probably because it was not completely understood how to do this. Because project management plans is due since a long time. I am sure this has been done.
Ola, I have to go. Thank you very much for explaining.
Thank you for participating. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
So you see, this this deliverable is represented by this document. And there are also some more documents contributing to the deliverable. In this way, you can create relations which can build the deliverable. Now, the problem is that this document has been marked as obsolete. This is strange.
Paolo, I think nobody really knows how to work with this cooperation tool. And I think it's really a powerful cooperation tool which can be used and would help us a lot, but until now, I think nobody understands how to use it. And we are now nearly 3 years in that project and working with this tool. That's, yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened in this specific case, but I can say you that whenever you detect a problem that the situation in the project seems a little bit stuck and not reflecting the real status of the project in the cooperation tool, you can address us and we can start an action, maybe an additional training, or in some cases we can do some check of the situation, because of course very often there are some small things which are missing, have not been done in the project, and this looks like a very strange situation, because, for example, we don't see any deliverable issued. But, okay, it is possible anyway to deal with this, because in the cooperation tool everything is tracked as long as information has been provided. So this document is here. We know who is the owner, the author, and we can check why this document is obsolete. Because the normal situation should be, after some time, you have a document. This is the document which represents the deliverables, and it will be issued. And at the same time, also the deliverable becomes issued. But I cannot do it because I don't know if this is what the project wishes to do. But, for example, if the author of the document can explain me that this document is really the deliverable, then we can, in a couple of clicks, fix the situation. And the same can be done for all the deliverables.
One question to that. So if we have a deliverable and I have something to put in this deliverables as a contributor, let's say I have read an article, I want to copy it into the deliverable. How can I do that? How can I check out the deliverable, put in my content, and check it in once again, like in SharePoint, and have a new version of the deliverable?
Well, the deliverable in the cooperation tool is simply a definition of it, but is implemented by means of a document. And then the document is representing the deliverable. But a deliverable can have also, for example, if we took this one, as I showed before, you see, this is the deliverable, and there are several documents which contribute to it or represent it. You can, for example, say that this document is the final version of the deliverable. But this document for some reason is in the obsolete status. Obsolete means deleted. And so, of course, there is no deliverable. What I can know is why this has been done in this way. But If this document was in the published state, this means that the deliverable has been prepared and finalized. Related to deliverables, you can have any number of documents which contribute to the deliverable, but normally only one which represents the deliverable. And this one you have to finalize in order to show that the deliverable is also finalized. And for each deliverable, there is also the possibility to define a review team. You can define who are the reviewers in the project, and this review team will be in charge of approving the deliverable. But this is not sorry. This is not mandatory, but can be done, and this also is supported by the cooperation tool, which defines an action, which is the review of the deliverable. And then the action can be tracked as we have seen before. So the problem is that since the initial training in a project, then there are many months before a deliverable is ready to be finalized, and maybe some people will forget how to do it. But it is possible to check possibly documentation. We have also the help. Help is a context-based help system, which will give you only some quick information about what to do at that point. And of course, you can address us saying we need to publish or to finalize this deliverable, but we don't remember how to do it. And we will tell you exactly how to do it. So don't hesitate to contact us using the support function in order to get appropriate information. And as I said, in some cases, we can even do it for you. Is this clear enough, or I missed some points?
No, thank you. It's really very good training and presentation. We should have needed it maybe 3 years ago when we started working with Shift2Rail, but that's the situation. And I think we should talk about a training how to handle these deliverables and the documents once again, because that's, I think, important and would save a lot of time for us to assemble deliverables and documents. But we didn't know how to use the tool until now. So we will try now to work with that tool and really to save time using the cooperation tool. Another question, there's another tool available from Shift2Rail. It's the ECSA, some kind of European Commission System area. We would also need a training for that. Are you also doing training for this tool, or are there other people responsible?
Unfortunately, we have nothing to do with that tool. Is a completely different source. I don't know exactly which one, but the European Commission, of course, has a lot of tools for different purposes, and I think usually they have separate management and support. Anyway, it is for sure not our task. I don't even know that tool. We are responsible for the cooperation tool for the project life.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that really very interesting and good training. As I said, maybe we will have some more training. We will need some more training to really use the tool in an efficient way.
Okay, no problem. Maybe you can check with your colleagues which topics you need to go deeper in, and also give me some advance notice of this need, and we can agree on a date when we set up a new session like this one, and get the information you need.
Thank you very much for that offer. Next time we will come to Italy to have a face-to-face meeting. A face-to-face training will be much more efficient, like a web meeting.
Why not? Can be possible. Again, I need to know a little bit in advance, but if possible, I will be happy to meet you and show you something face to face.
It's Melanie Denley here. I think Hans is right. It would be really good to know a bit more about how to use the deliverable part of it. Perhaps we could take it back to Yusuf and so that he can look at arranging something.
Sorry, I didn't get exactly the question.
Sorry, I was just saying that I think several people might need this further sort of more detailed training on how to work with particularly the deliverable, to update the deliverable. So I'm suggesting that we take it back to Yusuf to see whether he can arrange some further training specifically on that item.
Yes, sure. This is possible. As I was saying before, if you identify a topic where you need to go a little bit more in detail, we organize a training session specifically for that with the people who need to have this training.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll pass that on to Yusuf. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And
Paolo?
Yes.
This is Jose speaking. Also, thank you very much for the training. It was quite good to check how are the possibilities of cooperation tool, and also I agree with Melanie and with Hannes. Further training in the deliverable part would be quite helpful for us because we are working on that topic during the project. Maybe for this training, just to prepare some practical examples, how to work with documents, how to include content, how to check it. That would be, from my side, good further training. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Of course, you're welcome. And as I said, I am available for further training, especially if we go in a more specific topic. It can be easier to get complete results, even solving some small problems in the project. And especially for us, it's very important that you are put in the situation that you can take the most benefit from the tool. Any other question? Because we are already a little bit further on in the time than originally planned, but anyway, I think this was needed, and so if there are no other questions, I propose to close this session, and I look forward to have information from you about your needs and especially your next training needs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for attending, and I hope to see you soon.